All right. Hello, good evening, and happy Mother's Day. You're watching the BCSN SportsWrap. I'm Bryan Fulford. That's A.D. Drew. Hello, good evening. Thanks for watching the show. And happy Mother's Day to any of the moms who are out there watching us. And Drew, how you doing? How you feeling tonight?
Man, I am feeling great. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, especially the mothers in my family.
And a new one. You got a new one in the family, right?
Especially the new one, her first Mother's Day. So just grateful because like Tupac said, without these mamas, we would not be here.
Yeah, indeed. And thoughts and prayers to all of those who are in that club with me who, if you don't have your mom still in your life, and every now and then it's not every now and then, but it's days like today where you really miss your mom, you miss being able to kind of call your mom up and just let her know you love her. But we celebrate their life, and we celebrate all that they poured into us to make us the men and women that we are. So thoughts and prayers to all of those good folks as well. We've got a fun show for you tonight. Lots to talk about here on the agenda. We've got some softball champions that have been crowned in the SWAC, the MEAC, and the CIAA. The SIC crowned a baseball champion. Finally, the weather finally broke well enough for y'all to get that in out there, Drew. I mean,
no comment.
And
oh my God.
Let's see what else we got. We got the baseball is in two different arcs, because you got Division II baseball tournaments in the NCAA level about to start, but at the Division I level, they're still playing or coming up on the last regular season weekend, which is next weekend. They're finishing up, and so we'll kind of see what it looks like in the SWAC and the MEAC, and we got some more NCAA news. There's always NCAA news, it seems like these days, as we finally know what the NCAA tournament will look like, and just maybe a few other things that we might get into. Graduation season as well, Drew. So congrats to all the new graduates, the HBCU grads that are alums now.
Especially those who endured Norfolk State's graduation.
Was that the only one that was outside in the rain, like they dealt with weather?
I think everybody else probably had an alternative plan so they could move inside should weather prevent the graduation from happening outside. But Norfolk, for whatever reason, did not make the move. Whether they did not believe the weather forecast, did not have an alternate site large enough, or whatever the case is, it was not a good look.
And
if I'm the graduation speaker, I'm 38 hot.
The graduation speaker? Yeah. How about the students who were sitting there? I bet they.
I waited 4, 5, 6 years for this.
You sitting out? Okay, hold on. Let's real talk. Are you sitting out in the rain for that?
Look, they're gonna mail you your diploma anyway, your degree. I might, because when you think about it, Bryan, you really you've done what you need to do. The graduation ceremony is for everyone else who
It's for
supported
everyone
you
else, right?
during your journey. Mom, dad, auntie, uncle, Pookie and Ray Ray down the block, all those people who supported you. That's what the graduation ceremony is for. You've already done what you need to do. You've applied, and you still got to wait 2, 3, 4 weeks for you to actually get your degree in the mail. So, that's when it's really complete for you as the graduate. So and I'll be honest with you. As a matter of fact, Brian, when I got my master's degree, I did not participate in the graduation ceremony. Just
I can
just
see that as a grad.
send me my degree. The first one I did it for everybody else. That one
Yeah,
that was 100% mine. So just send it to me. Is it good? Is it legit? Okay. Signed off by the president, provost, all the people. All right, I'm good.
and honestly, I can see that at that level. I can see that at the grad level. You know what I'm saying? I can see it happening. But um, but man, I just that's tough though, man. That's tough.
And speaking of graduations, Brian,
Yeah.
we've had all this controversy about graduation speakers uh, with a couple of institutions. So,
Do tell. What are you referring to, Drew?
we're gonna talk about South Carolina State.
Well, yes. Okay, that's one. South
That's
Carolina
one.
State. What was that? The lieutenant governor who was invited to speak.
Governor or lieutenant governor, one of the
Yeah,
two.
and but she ended up not doing it, if I'm not mistaken. Right? She passed.
Based on the pressure that the students put on.
Well, wasn't it more so the president? Who was it? The president. The president came out and they kind of smoothed that over. That's
Yeah,
I don't know.
but and a lot of that had to do with the board of trustees making their influence on who the speaker is and everything else. Yeah, Morehouse School of Medicine had its own controversy.
Who did more? You said who?
School of Medicine, the School of Medicine, not
Oh, did they really?
yes. So
Howard University.
yes,
I was just reading. I saw the article there on HBCU game day. The mayor of DC
Bear Bowser,
was booed.
Bear Bowser,
Black
yes,
woman, black woman, booed.
yeah, Miriam Bowser.
Man.
And what's the line, Brian? What's the line from choosing a speaker versus the ideals of the university versus the wishes of the students and everything else? Where is that line? It's just like when you figure out who's in a homecoming concert, Brian. Where is that line, Brian?
Well, I do think the speaker should be someone that can uplift and be someone that speaks to the students who are graduating. It should hopefully be void of politics.
Good luck.
I mean, it should be. It should be. It should. I don't know if it should be a controversial figure or let me say someone who is in the midst of controversial things. Does that make sense? I mean, maybe they were a controversial in the past, but maybe they're not now. Don't give away any large gifts unless it's been vetted.
Fam, you.
See, you didn't have to do all that, Drew. You could just left it alone. But
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Why we got Howard on here? I wonder if Howard ever gave back that gift from Sean P. Diddy Combs.
What gift? What money? What money? We're not talking about that. That money's been spent and appropriated.
But those things,
Yeah. we appreciate Mr. Combs at the time doing what he did.
But just didn't appreciate what he was doing to people when he did.
Oh, see, stop. But Yeah, I can't get why Norfolk State with the technology that we have to AccuWeather, radars, predictive models. How do you allow? And I don't know if the whole did the whole ceremony rain? Did no? I mean, how do you allow that to happen? I just, man, that's such a bad look. And people said, well, they don't have an alternative site. You couldn't transfer all those people into the basketball arena because the basketball arena only holds so many.
If there's a lightning storm or tornado, where do you put all those people?
Look, you'd have been under the bleachers. Everybody would have been under the bleachers.
I mean, you have to have a emergency plan, emergency evacuation plan. That is standard when you have any type of gathering. As somebody who deals with events on a consistent basis, I have to have an emergency plan. Yeah. Tornado, whatever.
As far as we know, and I
got two words for Norfolk: Scope Arena.
Well, you don't know what other events. Scope is not like it's an arena that just sits vacant. I mean, there are other events that are going on.
You know when graduation is, you plan it out a year in advance.
I got you.
I mean, we graduated at the Leon County Civic Center.
Yeah, okay.
That was before you graduated on campus at the Lawson Center, FAMU.
I mean, well, when you have a 10,000 seat facility, you can do that kind of stuff,
Scope Arena.
Yeah, okay. All right, Drew. I get you. I'm not arguing with you when you're right. So there it is. But congratulations to all the graduates. Congrats. It's a bad look, definitely indeed. And so we go from there. But let's get into talking about
one more on graduation.
Mm-hmm.
Go read HBCU Game Day article on Magic Johnson and his address at Tuskegee also.
Yeah, I guess, in terms of, you mentioned some of it. I saw Magic spoke at Tuskegee. Queen Latifah spoke at North Carolina A&T. So there's a couple articles there on Game Day, HBCU Game Day, that mentions both of those regarding graduation. And, of course, the story regarding the D.C. mayor who was booed during her commencement speech. So, yeah, kind of is what it is at that point. But hey, let's get into talking again. As we mentioned at the start of the show, we got some softball champions to be crowned, and let's see. So you had championships being crowned in the SWAC, MEAC, and the CIAA. Now, look, I will admit that part of my fascination with the CIAA is just really finding out information. Like, CIAA has abandoned certain social media platforms. Like, they are not existent anymore on X or Twitter. I guess they're still on Instagram. And so, they're the Division II. The SIC had theirs last week, right before the baseball tournament. The HBCU did all theirs. That's NAIA level. But the CIAA was in the hands of, I don't even know. Let me see where they had it. In Orangeburg, South Carolina. So I guess that's home to
Claflin,
yeah. And it just so happened that Claflin was the top seed in the tournament, the CIAA tournament. And it was double elimination. And the 3-time champs were Bowie State. And as you can see, if you're in the chat room, Bowie State was knocked out by Winston-Salem State, who was trying to make another miracle run, because I think their overall record at the time was like 12 and 20 something. I don't know. But anyway, they advanced to the championship game and came within an out,
a pitch
away from possibly taking the title from Claflin. Now, I don't know, haven't looked at the entire bracket to know if they had won this game with Claflin had actually okay, that's even more impressive. The fact that they had 6 wins coming into the tournament and ended up winning. I think they won 6 games because I saw like their finish record was like 12 and something. So they knocked off Bowie State, who was the 3-time champs, got to the championship game. And I don't know if I think if they had beaten Claflin in this game, they would have probably forced the if game. Okay, so 9. So it wasn't as bad as so it wasn't as bad, but still 9 wins is under 10 wins. I mean, that's like So they beat Bowie twice. Congratulations for that, and knocked Bowie out. And they probably would have had to play a second.
They would have, because that would have been Claflin's first loss.
Yeah, it would have been Claflin's loss. But fortunately for Claflin, they ended up getting a win. And I saw one video of it on Twitter, on social media, because again, CIAA is not on Twitter. I don't even know what their presence is like on IG, to be honest. But it ends up being a walk-off single in the 7th inning.
Has to be in the 7th to be a walk-off, Brian, by definition.
Yeah, that's why I paused for a second, because even the story on the website doesn't really give credit to how they won. But anyway, Claflin University captured the 2026 CIAA softball championship over Winston-Salem State, who finished the season 12-21 by a score of 7-6. For the Panthers, and they earned the auto bid into the NCAA tournament. Just kind of looking quickly, Claflin finished 31-12 overall and had an outstanding season. Anaya Jackson, who's a second baseman for Claflin, was named the championship's most valuable player. She and 2 of her teammates, Caitlin Grissom, Ariana Meadows, also on the team. And Winston-Salem State had a pair of young ladies also on the all-tournament team, Riley Dimmers, Jyla Thomas. And they made the team as well. So we'll wait to see where Claflin ends up, but congratulations to Claflin. Okay, so yeah, the CIAA does have a network. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Again, I just wish they had a stronger social media presence and we might know a little more. But anyway, then we also had the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, which I got to tell you, Drew, it was a little anti-dramatic.
Well, when you're the Howard Bison and you win all your games by run rule, it is anticlimactic.
Exactly. Yeah. The Bison of Howard take home, I believe, their 2nd consecutive. Let me see real quick. Ooh, small type on the story. They beat number 3 seed South Carolina State 11-2 in 5 innings. This definitely was, as you said, back-to-back titles for Howard. And they got the auto bid. I was trying to look here at the article and see. And, one of the things I was looking to see is who was the team that was running in hot going into the
Norfolk.
Dale State?
Norfolk and Dale State. No, Dale State, yes.
It was Dale State who was running hot.
Yeah.
But Dale State ended up losing to South Carolina State. So we never got the championship matchup that we thought we might get between Howard and Dale State, But anyway, that's how it rolls. Let's see. The MEAC's most outstanding player was Howard outfielder Marin Jordan, I think is how you pronounce her name. So Now they do something different with their all tournament team in the MEAC. They go by positions. So, well, no, it just looks like they do. They got a bunch of pitchers and
Marion, yes,
yeah, it's a bunch. Yeah, so it is what it is. But congratulations to Howard University. I didn't even see the bracket. You said I know they dealt with a few rain delays as well.
But I think it's something about softball, baseball that draws rain to whatever city it's in, Brian, during this time of the year. You can go all regular season with no rain out, so being able to move games and everything. But come tournament time, at least for 2026, it's going to be rain. It's going to be interesting to see what the SWAC does with baseball, because the trend has been every tournament that we have had, there has been a day lost some rain.
SWAC baseball tournament is in what city again? Birmingham.
Brickwood Field.
Okay. And you know that all too well, given your experience with softball and baseball in Macon, Georgia.
Macon and Columbus, Georgia.
Yeah.
Yes.
So just that time of year. So congratulations to them. And then there's the SWAC, Drew. And I'll tell you what an outstanding tournament. Look, how do you say? I don't even know how to properly set this up, because obviously we were tracking East v West, okay,
yes.
And there was an epic game in the semifinals on the winners bracket between FAMU and Southern. Now, of course, don't forget Southern was not the West Division champion. That honor went to Prairie View, who
gets the All Charcoal Award.
Once again, was that the third year in a row that they've done that, or second year in a row?
I know it's at least two. At
least two, and I think they may have done it 3 years in a row. I feel like they may have.
They are the Kingsford Charcoal Team of the Year. Between them and Albany State Baseball are the Kingsford Charcoal Teams of the Year.
I mean, the West Division champs just get knocked out in 2 games, taken out early. And so we were kind of, if you follow the Black Color Sports Network on Twitter, it's kind of tracking the West versus East Division. At one point, the West won the first 2 games in day 1, but then the West went on a streak where they won the last 2 games of day 1. Then they won the first 2 games of day 2, which knocked out 2 teams from the West. UAPB and Prairie View were the first 2 teams to go home. So at that point, it was 4-2 West. And then you started seeing the back and forth going on where...
You mean 4-2 East?
Yeah, I'm sorry, 4-2 East. Yeah, 4-2 East. And then the West finally got a win, I think, by virtue of either Texas Southern or Southern. And then we had the epic matchup. The Southern versus FAMU game. It was the last game of day
2.
2.5. Well, yeah.
No, it was day 2.
No, it was
day 3.
It was day 2.
Was it day 2?
It was day 2, yeah, because it was the semifinal round.
Okay.
But the fact that the game started at maybe a little bit delayed, but it started
a little bit.
It started at about 8 o'clock
Eastern
due to some weather, which always has seemed to have been an issue at Gulfport. And then by the time that game finished, it went into extra innings. Southern, FAMU, both pitchers, the Southern's pitcher of the year, Zabala, Samantha Smith for FAMU, that they both pitched the entire game. It was 3-3 after 7 innings, after 8, after 9, after 10, then in the 11th inning. And at this point, you're probably talking very close to midnight. It might have even gone into midnight Eastern time.
It went past my bedtime because I fell asleep in the 10th inning.
I fell asleep after Southern scored a run in the top of the 11th inning.
See, I didn't even see that.
I was so disgruntled. I just passed out and was like, oh, man, doggone it. 4-3 Southern. But then in the bottom of the 11th inning, FAMU got a triple from their leadoff hitter. Then the next hitter up brought her in. And then, or was it a two? It was a 2-run. I think it was a 2-run ball that was hit, something to that effect. But anyway, FAMU ended up scoring 2 in the bottom of the 11th inning to walk away 5-4. And literally, when I woke up at like 1:15 in the morning, that's when I realized that FAMU had won because I was shocked. So FAMU moves to the winner side bracket to play Texas Southern, another Western Division team. The winner of that game goes to the championship game.
Texas Southern was a 3, I believe.
Yes, they were the 3 seed in the West. They were a 3 seed in the West. And the only reason that they finished as the 3 seed is because they lost tiebreakers to Southern and Prairie View. But they almost finished with 18 conference wins. So, and I think they had the best pitching staff ERA, if I remember Charles Edmonds saying. So FAMU advanced. They beat Texas Southern, went 3 straight wins to get to the championship game. Southern, on the other side, had to go through the losers bracket and knock people out. And that's what they did. They went about, let me see. Who did they knock out? They knocked out Alabama State.
Bethune-Cookman first.
Bethune-Cookman first.
Then Alabama State.
Then Alabama State.
Then Texas Southern.
And then Texas Southern. So they knocked out 3 teams to get a rematch with FAMU. And all the while, I got to give it up, Drew. The young lady, Zabala, pitcher of the year, I don't know how many games she did not pitch, but I think she probably pitched 95% of the innings for Southern in the tournament. I mean, the young lady just never came off the mound, off the bump. Outstanding job.
Circle, Brian, is the term in softball.
But I mean, dude,
it's not a mound. It's not a bump. It's the circle.
The circle, the rubber. Okay.
The circle. It's the circle.
That's
softball lingo.
That's softball lingo. Okay. Thank you for correcting me. All right. Yes. In the circle. But they do stand on the rubber though, right?
Yes.
All right. So, but the circle, I get it. Okay. I got to remember that next time I do play-by-play for softball, in the circle. All right. Anyway. Yeah. So it sets up the rematch. Now, the rematch was taking place on what night was it? Friday night. Already dealing with weather issues in Gulfport, right? That game was a mess in terms of
should have never started, honestly.
Should have probably never started, but they did start it because I think there was 2 delays in the middle of that game.
I think after the first or the second inning, and then again in like the 4th inning.
Yep.
May have been the second delay.
Yeah. So Southern jumped all over it, took advantage of FAMU errors. FAMU was just spraying the ball all over the field. Couldn't feel. I don't know if it was the weather or the just whatever. But I mean, very, very defensively. It was probably the worst.
5 errors, Brian. That's all you got to say is 5 errors.
Worst game that I mean. I knew it was bad, Drew, when I saw the third baseman come in on a bunt, and she literally threw the ball. I mean, over the first baseman's head. Who the first baseman is tall for FAMU. But threw it well over her head into right field, basically against the right field foul fence. And I was just like, damn. And that was 4-0 Southern at that point. Yeah. And I'm just thinking, all of Southern going to work out.
The first 4 or 5 Southern runs came off of those FAMU errors. I believe maybe in the first 6. I think they only scored 2 runs legitimate off of base hits and manufacturing runs. Every other run Southern scored was off of a FAMU error. Matter of fact, Brian, 7 of the 8 runs were due to FAMU errors, as Zoriana Hughes only gave up 1 earned run.
Yes, exactly. So the final score ended up being 8-0 Southern. So Southern had one of those days that, for them, put a stamp on the season. At that point, Drew, East v. West records were 6-6, and all it took was one more game on Saturday to decide a championship.
Brian, game time for this particular game started at 2:30. The actual playing time was 3 hours and 25 minutes. But here we go. Notes. Play suspended at 3:30 in the middle of the second. Resumed at 6:38 p.m. That was delay number one. A 1 hour 41-minute rain delay stopped at 7:27 in the top of the third. So to say and not making excuses to say the weather probably played a bit into that game with the wet balls and the wet turf and everything else. When you went by run rule, you score 8 runs and 7 of them are unearned due to 5 throwing errors. Yeah, I think possibly the weather was a factor, and it was not a representation of either team for a championship game.
No, and the challenging part is if anyone had looked at the weather, like you knew that the weather was supposed to be bad even on Saturday. So I get why they wanted to try to play that game on Friday. It's unfortunate that they kept stopping it when they did. I don't know if what the weather and the lightning, I've heard some people tell me the conspiracy theorists in them tells you, well, don't all those parks have the lightning alarms?
Yeah, they have lightning meters, and because it's an NCAA event, the trainers there have a lightning service that they have to subscribe to for all outdoor sports.
So if the lightning meter hasn't gone off, but which what is the lightning meter in most? It's usually within 5 miles.
8.
Okay.
8.
So
But you also got the factor, Brian. There is the common sense factor when you're dealing with baseball and softball. Although there may not be lightning in the area, a steady downpour when the balls are wet, the bats are wet, there's a serious safety issue that you have to deal with because when you got a ball for women coming 65, 70 miles an hour, and if the pitcher cannot or the fielders cannot control that ball on
oh,
a
go anywhere.
regular because the ball is wet or their hands are wet or a combination of both, there's a certain level of common sense safety that has to preside. But here's the thing, Brian. Once the game starts, the game is in the hands of the umpires. The decision makers in the conference have no control over when to stop that game, except to inform the umpires that there's light. Other than that, it's up to the men in blue or the women in blue.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. I've heard from various people that coaches would have been maybe a little more demonstrative, or at least would have been saying, for example, if you start the inning, then shouldn't you play the bottom half of the inning?
But it weather doesn't like, and yes, it was wet for both teams, and I'm not using that as an excuse. My excuse is it was a poor game because of the weather. That weather, if FAMU wins that game due to the weather, I'm saying the same thing, except I'm saying it on the southern side, Brian. It's just that was not the best conditions for a championship game, Brian. You do not want weather like that to be the determining factor. That's all I'm saying.
That's true.
Either way.
Okay.
Either way.
Okay. Well, it worked out. It worked itself out for Southern because Southern, Southern fans might have been upset about. I know FAMU fans might have been upset, but at the end of the day, they played it. It ended up working itself out for Southern. Southern got an 8-0 win in that contest, and it forced the winner take all game for the second straight year. There was going to be a winner take all game. Remember a year ago, FAMU forced a winner take all game against Jackson State, but Jackson State ended up winning that winner take all game. That game ended up being played on Sunday morning, if I'm not mistaken, because of the weather. And I'll tell you, that winner take all game was originally scheduled for noon Eastern, 11 Central, but
they
the weather.
Oh, you talking about this year?
This year.
Oh yeah, yeah. It got moved back about 3-4 times.
Yes, it got moved 3 to 4 times, and the game first pitch didn't actually go off until 7:05, 7:10 Eastern.
Yes,
right. Which, they literally had 3 to 4 different meetings, and I kept looking at the weather. In the morning, I kept looking at the weather, and Carlos Brown, who's in the chat, he's in Baton Rouge, and he's telling me what the weather is like in Baton Rouge. And if you know a little geography, Baton Rouge is to the west of Gulfport, so that means what? Whatever happens in Baton Rouge is most likely coming towards Gulfport. And I mean, he was dealing with some major stuff. And Carlos, I hope everything is okay and well with in your crib, in your neighborhood.
He didn't do the show Saturday because he didn't have power.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's why you didn't see the Carlos Brown show on Saturday. It wasn't just because Southern was supposed to be playing, but he was dealing with other stuff, right? So that's why that didn't happen. But anyway, so I was really wondering whether the game was going to happen, Drew. I was sitting there, me in the chat group. I was being doomsday scenario here, and I'm like, if this game doesn't happen, look at the weather. It's not going to happen on Sunday either. They got to move this game. I mean, look, I'm just being an over irrational fan at that.
Bryan, that game was going to get played even if it was 11 o'clock at night. CSIAC for how to handle games that end after midnight.
Well, thankfully it didn't go midnight, but we did get a good game though. Once again, you had Samantha Smith on the mound for FAMU. You had Zabala and her, I forgot her first name. So Carlos Barrick, you guys let me know her first name, Zabala's first name, because she was an outstanding pitcher. Aaliyah Zabala, yes. Outstanding pitcher, SWAC pitcher of the year. And again, FAMU got on the board first in the bottom of the first. Southern answered with a run in the top of the second, and so it's 1-1, and it was 1-1 back and forth. Pitchers duel, great defense on both sides. No team was giving up, and then we go to the seventh inning. Bottom of the seventh. FAMU's got an opportunity. The Rattlers were able to, I think they bunted a runner on. You got the stats. How to take us up to the final play? I think FAMU bunted a runner.
Okay, going down there. There was a fly out to open up the inning.
Bottom of the seventh.
Kiera Beltray had a bunt single.
Oh, what an outstanding bunt single.
Yes.
Laid it perfectly down to get on first.
Right. Samantha Smith was hit by a pitch, and I believe, Bryan, that was the first HBP in the game, which shows you how clean these pitchers were pitching in this game.
And I wonder if we talk about weather because it had started to rain. I wonder if the ball just got away from Zabala. I don't know if she really hit a batter. In none of the games that I saw, she had hit anybody. So that might have been her first HBP of the whole tournament. And again, she pitched 6 or 7 games, right? So that might have been the first time she hit somebody. So that put Smith on second base.
Yeah.
And how many outs at this point? 1 out?
One out. You've got runners on first and second. And here's the thing, Bryan. The pitch that she hit Smith was a 3-2 pitch. It was on a full count.
Yes.
So
big difference there.
Yes.
So at that point now,
got first and second,
with
1 out.
And Coach Beal, now if you've been paying attention to this game, Coach Brittany Beal of Florida A&M going up against Coach Brittany Williams of Southern. Southern's Brittany Williams, she was the coach of the year. So Southern had the coach of the year and the pitcher of the year. FAMU had the player of the year in Amari Brown. So, we really had the best 2 teams in the SWAC, with all respect to other teams that may have won a division in the West. But anyway, I think Southern and FAMU were the 2 best teams in the SWAC. tournament, right?
Yeah.
And Beal had made some substitutions and some changes in this game going into, if you had been paying attention, and you FAMU folks know what I mean. And one of those particular changes was the young lady who had started at second base all tournament was
Braxton Battle.
Braxton Battle. Braxton was substituted for I believe it was Canty, right, at second base. Okay. And so she goes to a pinch hitter for Canty, right? And it's none other than Braxton Battle. Braxton Battle, young lady, a sophomore from out of I think the Atlanta metro area. So she goes up to the plate with two runners on. And I mean, I tell you, Drew, I'm just going to let our good friend Charles Edmond call it. As I got it. I'm going to let Charles Edmond call it here.
1-1 pitch. Popped up, shallow left. It's going to drop for a base hit. Running around third. She tries to score. The throw's too late. Florida A&M is your 2026 SWAC softball champions. Braxton Battle, a single in the shallow left field, scores Beltry. The Rattlers are your SWAC tournament champions.
Oh, man, shout out to Charles Edmond, good friend, co-host on the Carlos Brown show every Saturday right here on the Black College Sports Network. Called every game of the tournament. Called every game of the tournament, and I'm telling you, man, what an outstanding job Charles did. Outstanding work, and what an outstanding performance, man. I just can't put it into words for a young lady who had been starting to all of a sudden be thrust into the role of having a pinch hit with that kind of pressure, and she comes through. Outstanding.
Yeah.
Outstanding work.
Yes. Very good. And Brian brought up some interesting strategy at that point, because you've got first and second with one out. So in theory, the double play is still in order if the ball is hit on the infield. And if anybody paid attention, and I mentioned this in our chat group, Brian, FAMU had a serious problem bunting, not only in the games against Southern, but in the entire tournament, of laying down the bunt to advance the runners. So the book tells you in that instance, you bunt the runners over to second and third. That's what the book says, Brian. Am I correct?
I guess I haven't seen that book, but okay.
Yeah, but that's the book tells you to bunt them over the second and third at that point, and you get that run on third, anything can happen. Wild pitch, illegal pitch, anything can happen at that point, and you score the run. Of course, by putting the ball in play with the bunt, you open up the opportunity to a throwing error, runner safe, anything at that point. So, but Coach Beal, right, maybe realizing FAMU was having the issues or trusting in this young lady, decided to swing away. And the result was what we just saw, Brian, a 2-1 victory for the Rattlers. And hopefully before we get off the air today, Brian, because the selection show comes on at 7:00 Eastern time tonight, so we'll know where FAMU and Howard will be going in the NCAA tournament.
Well, we do have a JBN member. Gail is at the FAMU watch party. Shout out to Gail. Thank you for being a JBN subscriber. So, she's watching the show. I love the fact that Gail is there. Gail, feel free to give us any updates via the chat, as she is at the FAMU watch party right now. And I don't know if Howard's having a watch party, but if we got anybody watching the show that's at the Howard watch party, give us some updates there, and we'll kind of see where these teams go. I've seen some projections, Drew, that given the fact that Florida State, South Florida, and Stetson, which is a school that's in DeLand, Florida, all won automatic qualifiers, it's possible that all of those teams may appear in the Tallahassee regional. So, FAMU may not have to travel far in the NCAA tournament. I don't know if we get away from being a 4 seed because, usually that's how they do those things.
Brian.
Okay.
Just move on.
I said I didn't know if we get away from it.
You wasting airtime.
All right, so that means if those are the 4 teams again, FAMU, Florida State would probably be your first game, and then you'd have USF and Stetson. Now, let me say this, Drew, and I don't know why the sport of volleyball doesn't utilize the softball method, which is because they do everything the same thing softball does, which is they have the sub-regionals, they have the sites, the 16 sites with 4 teams in a quad. But in softball, as it is in baseball, it's what, Drew? Double elimination. I don't understand for the life of me why volleyball is not that same way.
Because the conference tournaments are single elimination, whereas baseball and softball, your conference tournaments are double eliminations.
I don't know about that, Drew. This year, for example, the Big 12, the SEC, those were single elimination tournaments this year. In fact, in the Big 12, the number 1 team, Texas Tech, they went to the championship game on Saturday, and I'm sitting there at the bar watching it. They played Arizona State. Texas Tech, who has the young lady Kennedy, who is the $1 million NIL softball pitcher. Texas Tech had not given up a run in any of the previous 3 games prior to the championship. Arizona State put 4 runs on them in the first 2 to 3 innings. And that was the final score, 4-0. Arizona State won the Big 12, and it was a single elimination tournament, Drew.
But you know why they can do that, Brian? Their team's going no matter what.
Okay. Well, I noticed that was a trend in quite a few conferences.
Big conferences. You're not gonna get away with that in the G5 conference.
I don't know, Drew. I think
a
some
mid-major. Show me a mid-major conference that's doing a single.
I think do you consider Conference USA or American Conference?
The mid-majors at best.
Okay, I think 1 or 2 of them. I'll do my research later. Be an offline conversation. But anyway.
Okay.
But so I don't know, Drew. I just feel like, and I say that because I've seen.
Let me tell you that. Tell me a single bid conference who's doing a single elimination.
All right. Okay. I'll go back and do the research and look. But I feel like I've seen it before. Well, then there's always the great X factor, good old TV. TV controls everything these days, doesn't it? And so, but I wish volleyball, because, and I say that because I watch our teams go out and play. I'm being prisoner at the moment because FAMU's been the team.
They go halfway across the country.
They go halfway across the country.
3 days and they back home.
There's 3 days to play 1 game because you're going in and you're automatically playing the top seeded team anyway, the team that's hosting the tournament. And the last couple of years has been like Nebraska or maybe Florida, and then it's one and done. But I mean, in this softball world, even in the baseball world, we see a 3 seed, maybe even a 4 seed that might have a really good pitcher, or they just have a good day hitting, and they might shock a team. They might win a game or 2, and I think that's what we're waiting on. We're waiting to see one of our teams, whether it be this year, Howard or FAMU, we want to see them win a game.
So, Brian, I don't think Southern under Roger Cador is walking through the door right now. As good as Bethune-Cookman is, they may get a game in the elimination bracket, but it would be tough for Bethune to go to a Florida or whoever they wind up with if should they win the SWAC. And Bethune-Cookman is probably the best positioned team
this year
that we have seen in a while to be able to pull that off. But it's still an uphill climb.
It is an uphill climb. Bethune, again, has shown the capability of winning against the teams that, should they win the SWAC, they most likely will end up in a Florida or southeastern area region.
But here's the difference, O'Brien, and this is no disrespect to Coach Hernandez over at Bethune. You're going to get a weekend starter in the tournament, whereas on those midweeks, they're probably not getting weekend starters. Even if it's the number 3, you're going to get a weekend starter. Even they may get the Sunday starter, but not a weekday starter. And there's a difference on all levels. A midweek starter versus a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday starter.
But the question becomes, if you end up playing a team's best pitcher, now softball and baseball, 2 different things, because in baseball, you're probably only going to see that ace once. And, you can conceivably, I hate to say it this way, not play your best guy in the first game and save him for the first game out of the elimination bracket and win that game and give yourself, then at that point you got to win 2 games to get back to the top seeded team.
Right.
So anything's possible.
Yeah. In theory,
at that point.
In theory, both of you guys should be starting your number 3 starter, your Sunday starter.
Correct.
Save your Friday starter for game 2.
Right.
And should you win that, you come back with your Saturday starter.
Yeah. So congratulations again to all of the softball champions over the past weekend. Claflin, Howard, Florida A&M. With the top teams won it. It's very rare that we get to say that the top teams going into the tournament walked out of the tournament as the winners, and we'll see how that works out when we get to baseball.
Right.
But
speaking of baseball, Brian.
Yeah.
Speaking of baseball, SIAC championship.
Yes. SIC championship, which took place in Macon, Georgia, midweek final. What was the last day? As you guys dealt with some weather delays over the course of that tournament, correct?
And
took a whole, if I'm not mistaken, did it take a whole day? One of the days got knocked out entirely, didn't it?
Almost not knocked out. Well, there was day 2 took 2 days.
I thought there was one day. I thought there was one day where only one game was played.
Right, because that was the finish of day 2.
Oh wow!
Yeah, because they played. It was supposed to be 4 games. The first 3 days, got the 4 games in day 1. Day 2 got 3 of the games in, and the SIA. And this is almost the anti-SWAC, Brian. The SIAC made the decision because they were not sure that the 4th game on day 2 was going to get in without rain stopping the game. And it's probably even more important in baseball than in softball that you do not start and stop games because of pitching in baseball. So the SIAC decided not to start the 4th game of the day on game 2. Well, Brian, the weather didn't come in until after midnight that day. This was about 7:00-ish or so when the decision was made. So the game could have gotten that game in. And then now the other day would have been washed probably anyway. So they finished day 2 on the 3rd day with the single game starting at 7:00. and then the remainder of the term was pushed back a day, which pushed the championship, the semifinal and the championship game back to Monday. Part of the reason I was not on SportsWrap last week because I was there. I was on the air. I was producing while you guys were on the air. So Morehouse lost to Spring Hill by a score of 6-4 in the semifinal game, which was the elimination bracket championship game. Very competitive game for Morehouse and for Spring Hill. Spring Hill jumped up 4-0 early. Morehouse cut it to 4-1. Then Spring Hill went up 6-4, and then Morehouse cut it to 6-3, and then Morehouse got one in the top of the ninth, and with runners on second and third with one out in the top of the ninth, Morehouse with opportunity to extend the game ending double play by Spring Hill to end the ball game. So Spring Hill was able to hold on to that one. So then you have the championship game, that being between Edward Waters and Spring Hill. And I'm trying to pull up the box score right now.
Last chance for anybody to knock off Spring Hill, right? Because this was, if I'm not mistaken, this was their last tournament.
No, they actually have one more.
Oh, do they really?
Yes, they will be in the conference for one final season.
Oh, see, I thought they were leaving. I thought this was
26 will be their last season in the conference.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Going back through the play-by-play, the final of that game, ironically, Bryan, was 6-4 also in that particular game. Let's see. Edward Waters jumped up 1-0 in the bottom of the first. Edward Waters was the home team. Spring Hill would tie it up in the third at 1. Spring Hill would go up and get two in the fifth on a John Webb single and a Gavin Moran RBI single to put them up 3-1. Bobby Torres would score a run in the bottom of the sixth for Edward Waters to make it 3-2. Edward Waters would go on to score 2 more runs in that to bring the score to 5-3 after 6. Edward Waters will put up an insurance run in the 7th inning when Bobby Torres got another single to center field, driving in Angelo Perito to make it 6-3. Spring Hill would get one in the 9th inning to bring the score to 6-4. And then Edward Waters would get a fly out to end the game, making the final score Edward Waters 6, Spring Hill 4. And I told Coach Johnson before the game, not that I'm rooting, but I am rooting, and I need y'all to win because I need to go home and I need to see my bed tonight. I told President Dr. A. Zachary Faison when I saw him, I need y'all to go ahead and win this thing tonight, man. I need to get back home. I've been on the road for 10 days.
Well, the amazing thing about Edward Waters is winning that. Of course, they went 4-0 in the tournament. 4 up, 4 down. Currently on an 11-game winning streak. They were 7-game win streak going into the tournament, 4 straight to win their second SIAC baseball tournament championship, second in the last 3 years. As Emmett Jones said, Edward Waters coming into the SIAC and winning championships. Exactly, indeed. So congratulations to Edward Waters. I was trying to see, let's see. Daniel Donaldson Fountain was named the SIC Player of the Year and earned first team all SIAC recognition as a outfielder. So let me see. Was that the all tournament team? No, the MVP was Andres Caracciolo.
Go to Black College Nines, Brian, to get the full list of the tournament all tournament team.
Yeah. Now I'm curious. I don't know if you're a voter on. You're probably a voter on the Black College Nines.
Yes.
Who'd you vote for? I'm just curious. We'll trade off in comparison here between Talladega and Edward Waters. I think it's Talladega. Talladega, who won the HBCU AC, versus Edward Waters in the small division of the Black College Nines poll. Who was your number one team, Drew?
Edward Waters.
Mine too.
Yeah, and no shade to Talladega, but Edward Waters, especially beating a regionally ranked Spring Hill, that's what got my vote more than anything else. They beat where they did not face Albany State, so that would have been another one. But them beating a regionally ranked Spring Hill is why I gave them the edge over Talladega. They do have one more victory than Talladega, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I think although it's kind of tough to compare, I think the SIAC may be a little bit of a tougher conference than the HBCU AC. So
we must have been the only two votes because I think Talladega ended up being number one.
Yes, it did.
In the and Edward Waters finished number two, but we might have been the only two that voted for Edward Waters as number one.
Yes, yeah.
And I think the week before, I think I had Talladega won, but like you, I kind of valued the path and the opponents a little bit more in the SIAC than I did
the HBCU. And all tournament team for the SIAC tournament from Morehouse, Vernon Clay, RJ Robinson, who I think hit one of his home runs just landed that he hit in the tournament there, Brian, about 5 minutes ago. For Spring Hill, Ray Ochoa, John Webb, Jalen Jones, Gavin Moran, and from Edward Waters, Ty Bitsu, Bobby Torres, Jordan Smith, Luis Nunez, and Andres Caracciolo. And Caracciolo was named the MVP of the tournament.
Nice. All right. Drew, can we take a break? Because it's a good run of softball and baseball catch up. And I think by the time we come back from the break, we might know some softball pairings for Howard and FAMU. Don't give them if you got them.
One last thing before we go to break, Brian. NAIA opening round softball and baseball tournament. Softball.
Don't give them out. If you got announcements, let's wait it for after the break.
No, these are old, Brian.
Let's still wait. Let's give it all after the break.
Okay, we'll hold.
Let's do all the NCAA announcements after the break.
And NAIA.
And NAIA. So we'll start in the NAIA because those are the ones that came out first, correct?
Yeah, those came out earlier this week. Okay. Those came out Thursday.
All right. So coming up after the break, we'll do NAIA tournament. We'll do that's softball and baseball. We'll do some D2 information. Hopefully that's out.
No, that won't come out until either 10 or 11 o'clock tonight.
Okay, well, then that means we'll hopefully get the softball announcements coming up here very shortly. So we'll release all that. And then we'll also talk about a quick recap of what has happened in SWAC baseball. I got my concerns about why I didn't see any SWAC baseball games on SWAC TV this weekend, except for one series. We'll talk about that coming up on the other side. And also the NCAA tournament, the men's basketball and women's basketball tournament are expanding to 76. And A.D. Drew practically called it. I mean, he actually advocated for a little more. I think you said 80 originally, but I think you were probably thinking 76. But
yeah,
you called for 80. You called for 80, and they stopped at 76. They probably could have gone to 80. Hell, these folks. But we'll talk about how many more spaces and opportunities, what that means, what it doesn't mean. And we'll give you some information on the other side as well in case you didn't hear the news. Hang tight with us. You're watching the BCSN Sports Wrap right here on the Black College Sports Network. We'll be back in a moment.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU story with confidence and style. Because when you wear HBCU Image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
From cancer care to accidental injuries to cardiac care, we all know that there are times that you can't control what happens in your life. But with Globe Life Family Heritage, you can be prepared to weather the storm when it comes. Call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com. With over 25 years of serving communities, Dr. Beverly Eagles Rogers is here to help you and your family through difficult times. Dr. Beverly takes pride in Globe Life being one of the few companies that returns 100% of premiums to clients that stay healthy. So for more information, call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Welcome back to the BCSN Sports Wrap, the longest running HBCU sports themed talk show on the internet. We were doing it before we even knew what podcasting and internet was and YouTube and all that other stuff. Put some respect on our names. Anyway, that's just, but thank you to everybody who watches and is locked in, however and wherever you're watching the show. BCSN Pod Zone is where you can find all of the shows that are part of the Black College Sports Network on your favorite podcasting platforms. Just search BCSN Pod Zone, BCSN Pod Zone, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, so on and so forth. All right. Drew,
Okay.
Let's run it down.
All right, hold up. Well, we've got the Florida A&M announcement. I'm waiting on Howard before it. Don't, if you guys, I see somebody has it in the chat already, but I'll pull it up in just a moment. Just trying to see where Howard, so we can talk about them both at the same time. But let's get to NAIA softball while we're doing that, Brian. Dillard is our only HBCU representative in softball. They will be playing in the Lakeland, Florida region. They are the number 4 seed, They will take on Southeastern out of Florida. That is 11 o'clock a.m. tomorrow Eastern time. And the other two teams in there are Evangel from Missouri and Faulkner from Alabama. Dillard, the HBCU AC champions. And moving over to baseball, trying to split my attention and make sure I don't miss it when it comes through, Brian. Let's see. Baseball, we got two teams in from our HBCUs. We had Talladega, and we also had Houston Tillotson. Houston Tillotson was in the Shreveport, Louisiana region. That's a 5-team region with LSU Shreveport, Mid-American Christian out of Oklahoma, Loyola out of Louisiana, Oklahoma Wesleyan, and Houston Tillotson. And Houston Tillotson is the number 5. They will take on Oklahoma Wesleyan. That is at 11 a.m. Central time, followed by number 2 Mid-American Christian versus Loyola of Louisiana at 2:30 Central time. And should Houston Tillotson win, they will take on the number 1 LSU Shreveport at 6 p.m. Central time. And trying to remember where I saw Lawrence, and in Lawrenceville, Georgia, is where Talladega is at. They are also the number 5 seed. They are facing national power Georgia Gwinnett, who is the number 1 team in that region. Let's see. Talladega will take on number 4 Northwestern Ohio. That is at 11 o'clock Eastern time on tomorrow. Number 2 Louisiana Christian takes on number 3 Marion of Indiana at 3 o'clock Eastern. And at 7 o'clock, Georgia Gwinnett will face the winner of the Northwestern Ohio and Talladega matchup, Brian. While we're at it, while we're still waiting on this Howard one to come up, baseball regionals come out this evening, and that will be at 10 o'clock Eastern time on NCAA.com. And the softball pairings for Division II come out tomorrow. I think I must have missed Howard. Did anybody happen to catch Howard on the brackets? I missed Howard on the brackets there, everybody.
I haven't seen it. I don't think it's come up just yet, Drew.
Oh, they're not facing the top 8 seeds nationally. Okay, that's what that is. So on the softball side, the softball selection show for Division II is tomorrow, and that will occur tomorrow night at, I just saw the time, tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. on NCAA.com. That will be the Division II softball show. So now, Brian, you almost had it right on your selection.
Well, I didn't have it. I pulled out. I got a graphic there as well. Yep. Yeah.
Just happened to take a screenshot.
Okay.
Of it. So
there you go. The softball championship. So Florida A&M will take on the University of Florida. That's Friday morning, 11 a.m. And I believe that's this Friday.
Yes, that is Friday.
Okay. And then the other side of that Gainesville regional is Texas State, who is a 7 seed. Texas State is out of is that the SBC? Is that the Sun Belt? I have to take a look at where I think Texas State is either the Conference USA or the Sun Belt, one of those two. And then they take on Georgia Tech out of the ACC. So, Georgia Tech is an unranked team. I got to go back and look. I feel like FAMU may have played one of those opponents. Just kind of bump on the FAMU schedule from earlier in the year. No, there were a few teams that FAMU did face, but no, it was. So I haven't seen the Florida State region yet come up on the bracket, but yeah, that's what it looks like for FAMU. Yep. And so there's the Gainesville regional. So now we just wait to kind of see where they end up sending Howard University coming up. Could be an interesting opportunity if FAMU versus if the top seeds prevail. FAMU versus either a Texas State or a
Georgia Tech.
Now, should be noted that even though Florida is a ranked, Florida did not win the SEC. So, that I think Texas won the SEC. Texas won the SEC because Alabama, they played Alabama in the championship game. So kind of looking and seeing if they've released the full bracket yet. Still haven't seen Howard yet. So Florida was a 2 seed. I think that's how they're doing them now. They're going through the 1 seeds, the 2 seeds, because who all hosts? It's the 1, 2, 3, and 4 seeds, correct?
Well, in the first round, it's the top 16 seeds.
So yeah, it should be the 1, 2, 3, 4 seeds.
No, the top 16 hosts. It's 4-16 team.
Right, but I'm looking at how they ran them out on the website. They have the 1 seeds, Alabama, and they hosted a regional. Texas, they hosted a regional. Oklahoma hosting a regional. Nebraska hosting a regional. Then the 2 seeds, Arkansas hosting a regional. Florida hosted a regional. Tennessee hosting a regional. And UCLA hosting a regional. See what I'm saying? So
now they're going to do the 3s and the 4s.
The 3s and the 4s. So Howard will very much be in a either 3 or 4 seed hosted bracket. And I think that is a result of the higher RPI. Remember we had this show a couple of weeks ago. I think we were on Doc's show talking about the softball RPIs and making note of how Howard and even Southern were higher RPI rated than Florida A&M.
Yeah, they're in the Tallahassee regional right now. You got Stetson in that regional, like you said.
Okay.
It's just FAMU will not be traveling across town.
Yeah, makes you wonder what went into that. How
did they play each other this year?
They did. They did play each other during the season. Maybe that was it. We did not play Florida.
Yeah.
This year. So maybe that was it.
Stetson, Jacksonville State. Not Jackson State. Jacksonville.
But that's in Alabama. That's the Alabama Jacksonville State.
Yes. And UCF. So basically you had it right except for Jacksonville State.
Yeah. Well, who was the lowest seeded team out of that 4? Jacksonville State.
You would assume Stetson since they're playing the host.
Yeah. And UCF, they didn't want. See, that's one of them things where UCF they could have sent to Gainesville, which is 2 hours away, versus sending them up to Florida State, which is 4 hours away. FAMU, they could have sent
across the railroad track,
10 minutes down the road, but instead they make FAMU travel 2 hours. I don't get it. But anyway. So there we go. We wait to see how that goes. All right. Let's go through some baseball, SWAC baseball stuff here while we have a second, Drew. While we wait on that last.
And I'll interrupt you when it pops up. So continue on.
I was a little miffed that I didn't see but one prominent baseball series from the SWAC on SWAC TV this weekend. And that was Bethune-Cookman at Alabama State. And I'm a little shocked at that, Drew, given some of these series that we had. Now, I know weather, it looks like, played havoc on the Prairie View Alcorn State series.
The Who Cares series.
Jackson State was at Mississippi Valley State, a series in which they swept. Grambling was at UAPB. Now, that series, I think, was on YouTube, not on SWAC TV, if I'm not mistaken. Florida A&M was at Alabama A&M. I don't know if we've seen any Alabama A&M games baseball-wise on SWAC TV. And then, let me see. Like I said, Texas Southern at Southern probably was dealing with the weather issues going on in Baton Rouge. So maybe it was just one of those games where weather played havoc with a lot of those games, and it just was one of those odd weekends. So maybe I'll back off of my hot take about why no baseball games on SWAC TV. What does this say? I follow all SWAC schools on Hulu, and I keep getting Jacksonville State bowling. I don't understand how you're following these teams on Hulu, Edwin. Explain that to me. Anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of. With all the rain delays, I don't even feel comfortable coming on here talking about what standings look like, Drew, because I got a feeling standings are going to be all over the place.
Well, you may not want to talk about standings, but let's talk about an interesting series that's coming up over the weekend, Brian.
So Varick says Texas Southern was canceled. Doesn't the SWAC have a what's the rule? What's the percentage?
It's 24
rule?
minimum.
Okay,
I think it's 24. So everybody is fine as far as their minimum.
Oh wow. Okay, so so Southern has their own broadcast behind a paywall. Yeah, I need to move away from that. But anyway, okay. What was it? So let's go into this. So the interesting series going into this weekend, Drew. What do we got?
How about Jackson State UAPB?
You think that's the hot series this weekend?
Well, it's for.
Why are you calling me?
Am I calling you?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
I'm like, why are you calling me? I'm on the show with you.
Because we just found out where Howard is going. That's probably why I'm calling you.
Oh, okay.
And I was trying to pull the camera out on my phone, and I hit the phone button. But I'm gonna hold this take. I'm waiting on this last team to appear so I can take this picture on my phone.
Hold on, I'm gonna see if they got it on. I'm on the NCAA softball.
There we go.
Twitter feed. Let's see if they've got it updated. Oh, Howard's convenient, huh? That's mighty convenient of where they put Howard.
All right, I'm getting ready to load that in. Unless you got.
Yeah, I got something here. I got something. I can show it. Howard University appears to be heading to Durham, North Carolina. And I'm assuming they'll play.
That's it. They got Duke.
Yeah, so they're playing a 3 seed. Duke is Duke.
Yes.
Interesting matchup on the other side. Arizona out of the the Big 12 now?
Big 12 now.
No, Big 12. Big 12 and then Marshall. So We'll see what they do out there against Duke. That's a noon Eastern game, followed up by Arizona and Marshall. Yeah. There you go. So Durham, North Carolina, the site for the Smith Family Stadium. It's this weekend. If they only knew, Drew. If they only knew.
Oh, wow. Yeah. All right, getting back to what I was saying. Jackson State UAPB is the battle for the who gets to stay out of the bracket against Bethune-Cookman. Both of them were 14. Both of them were tied at 14 and 13 coming in. They play heads up. So the winner of that series will finish in 7th place and get the privilege of avoiding the Bethune-Cookman bracket.
Here's what's interesting about the Texas Southern series being canceled and Florida A&M. I know they've won at least 2 games over Alabama A&M. I don't know if the 3rd game is getting played or if they're doing a doubleheader today. But it's very possible that based on standings and some teams not playing, Florida A&M could end up moving from 6th up to 2nd. If I'm looking at the standings properly, and again, I'm scratching my head again on the standings on the SWAC website. I probably need to go look at d1baseball.com to probably get a more accurate tracking. But yeah, so the top 8 teams are set. So there's no way that Valley can jump in.
No.
So Arkansas, Pine Bluff, or Jackson State, one of those teams will probably end up, as you just mentioned, as a 7 and 8. So that's an interesting series. Good call on that, Drew. I see where you went with that.
Right. And what the site does not have, Brian, looks like FAMU defeated Alabama State
A&M.
Alabama A&M
10-3.
10-3, and that game has not been posted yet.
Right.
Standing.
But that's only 2 of the games. FAMU won.
Possibly the third game. The third game probably did not get played.
If they didn't make it a doubleheader today.
Right. Which I wouldn't.
Well, whose call is that? Florida A&M?
That's between the 2 teams. If both teams over the minimum,
I got you.
At this point, why would I waste my pitching and do that?
Alabama A&M doesn't have any extra motivation to. They're not in the 8, are they? Yeah, they're out of it.
They're out of it. So if that's the case, that gives FAMU another win. That puts FAMU at 18 and 8. Which puts them in a statistical tie with Southern. I don't know win percentage wise because it goes by win percentage. That will put them just slightly behind Southern. FAMU will be at a 692 with Southern at a 708. So FAMU would still be in 3rd place once that win is posted.
Okay. The other interesting, Grambling State, Alabama State sitting right in the middle, 4th and 5th.
Dr. Gaville, hold up. Dr. Gaville, who swept 3? Which team are we talking about?
Yeah.
Just clarify for us, please.
Yeah, the standings are all I don't know who's got the best updated standings. Is it ESPN or is it D1 baseball? Which site has the best doggone standings?
Who knows?
I swear. Trying to track this stuff is maddening, man.
And it's tough during this time of the year keeping up with these sites.
Oh yeah, I empathize. I empathize. But we're creatures of habit in terms of where we're going to get our information, and so.
Okay, going to Alabama A&M site, FAMU did sweep all three.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah.
So
FAMU
2 record is 19-18. 19-8.
19-8.
Okay, that's what FAMU needed. And now Southern, and see that.
So that puts FAMU at a 704.
So is it by? So hold on. Are they going by win percentage or?
If they go by win percentage if they don't play the same amount of games.
Which seems like it's not going to happen.
Right. So they are at a 704, so they're still in third place.
Right, because Southern has a 708. Wow.
Yes.
Oh man, Jesus. And who does Southern have upcoming this weekend?
Southern has.
Oh, geez, Alabama A&M. Geez, man.
Yeah. So you could pretty much count the sweep right there. At least the series to Southern.
Yeah.
So we'll say series to Southern. At worst, 19-8.
Now
19-8.
Let me throw this curveball at you. Grambling State traveling to Bethune. Now go figure out Grambling State. I think they won 2 out of 3 against UAPB. They split the doubleheader on Saturday. I don't see another game on the schedule unless you're looking on another site. But FAMU is 2 games behind Bethune. So Bethune needs to win. Their magic number is 1.
Yes.
That's going to be a fun series, an interesting series.
All right. Let's flip back to Southern FAMU for a second, Brian. Southern drops 1 and FAMU sweeps. FAMU gets the FAMU winds up in second.
They're playing Alabama A&M, Drew. If they don't sweep Alabama A&M, something's wrong. I'm looking at Southern, who's been the hot team. Honestly, this series against Texas Southern got canceled, but if I'm not mistaken, Southern was on a 4 series run.
Yes.
So,
but Brian, even a broke clock is right twice a day. Anything can happen in baseball.
Ouch, Drew. Damn.
But right now, those 2 are in the same bracket anyway, as of right now.
Correct. But what could change that, though, is what happens to Grambling, though. I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's how important that Grambling-Bethune-Cookman series is, where Grambling is fighting to see can they move out of the 4 spot, as well as Texas Southern. I mean, Texas Southern is fighting both of those teams. Somebody's trying to fight to get to be a 3 seed. So I think we got some real interesting matchups.
But FAMU could drop all the way down
to 6. Drop to 6 again if they mess around.
If Texas Southern were to sweep FAMU,
yes,
that would be correct. Texas Southern would jump FAMU in the standings.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of baseball to be played this weekend. So quickly, going over the weekend matchups, Brian. You've got Alabama State, Alcorn, chalk those up for Alabama State. Series to Alabama State. Mrs. Valley, Prairie View, both of them are out of it. Texas Southern travels to Florida A&M. Grambling travels to Bethune. Alabama A&M travels to Southern. And Arkansas Pine Bluff travels to Jackson State. Once again, I think the race at the bottom is also as intriguing, Brian. Now, here's the question. Dr. Cavill, I need you to have this answer for me Tuesday on your show, Dr. Cavill.
Like you're not going to be there.
But he still got to have the answer because he's got to do some investigative reporting.
Oh, okay.
There in Houston. Texas Southern travels to Tallahassee for this final series against Florida A&M. SWAC tournament begins Wednesday in Birmingham. School is out. Does Texas Southern return to Houston and then travel to Birmingham? Or does Texas Southern travel to Birmingham from Tallahassee?
I would want to travel. I would not want to travel back to Houston.
I would not either.
I would want to travel from Tallahassee up to Birmingham.
And the same thing for Grambling. Grambling goes to Daytona.
Oh, they definitely don't want to go back.
Does Grambling go from Daytona to Birmingham?
Yeah.
Just interesting on some of these teams. Well, let's throw this third one in there. UAPB goes to Jackson. Do you go back to Pine Bluff and then back down to Birmingham? Or do you just go over since you're 2 hours away, you're 2 hours away, 3 hours away once you're from Jackson to Birmingham? Interesting decisions from a budget and administrative standpoint with your teams on this final weekend.
Great points. And does the conference cover any of those costs?
Of course not.
Okay.
Of course not. That's you and Budgetina.
Okay. Well said. Well said. All right. Good stuff, Drew. Good stuff. So looking forward to seeing how the baseball season winds up.
Edwin, I'm not saying the distance from Pine Bluff to Jackson is that far away from each other, but Pine Bluff to Birmingham is what I'm thinking about there, Edwin.
But see, I was thinking like Edwin. I mean, Jackson State and Arkansas Pine Bluff are not that far away. So it's like, why not just go back to Pine Bluff? But yeah. Okay.
Southern's at home, very so that won't really affect Southern in this scenario that I'm talking about. Southern is at home, and then would travel to Birmingham.
And my only question about cost was hotel, not travel, but would they cover any? Like if you pulled up a day early, like what's the minimum
No.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
If I'm all these teams, I stay in the city where we're playing at Saturday because all the series end on Saturday. So I stay in that city Saturday. I stay in Tallahassee. I stay in Daytona. I stay in Jackson Saturday. Then I get up Sunday and travel to Birmingham and check in Sunday. Find some place to practice Monday and Tuesday. Get ready to play on Wednesday or probably Tuesday. They probably give you time to go over to the park to get familiar with the ballpark, but definitely find some place to practice on Monday. And hopefully they've already got some arrangements with some either some local parks or some local high schools for these teams to work out at. It's not like you can go over to Miles and practice because Miles plays at Rick Wood Field. So maybe able to go over to Lawson State or one of the other colleges there in that area. Heck, go over to old Birmingham Southern.
Get some BP in from somewhere, right?
Yes.
All right. Good stuff. All right. Okay. Can we transition to proposed NCAA tournament bracket stuff? The expansion of the NCAA men's basketball tournament. Well, it was announced earlier this week that the bracket will expand, the tournament rather, will expand to 76 total teams. Currently, with a field of 68 total teams, that means the addition of 8 new teams are getting at-large selections. Now, that first sentence, listen to what that first sentence is saying. 8 additional teams are at-large selection. These are not the automatic qualifiers. So right there in the first bullet, Drew, they're telling you who are these 8 teams most likely going to be, Drew?
Big 12, Big 10, SEC, ACC, the 9 and 9 team, or the 8 and 10 team, the number 12 finisher in the SEC is now getting in.
Right. And so where the second bullet, the 12 lowest seeded automatic qualifiers and the 12 lowest seeded at-large teams play in the opening round, previously known as the first 4. So let's break that down for a second. In the previous version, the first 4, it was the 4 lowest seeded automatic qualifiers, which we used to say if there are 32 conferences, basically 29, 30, 31, and 32, which is usually SWAC MEAC, usually. Okay. Now, with the 12 lowest seeded AQs, we're essentially now saying all of the conferences that are ranked 21 to 32, you are now playing in the opening round. I don't like this opening round first. They're going to change it, so they're going to still have the first round, but they're going to call it opening round, huh?
Because they tried that once upon a time, and people got all confused with that. So that's when they went to the first 4 and then the first round.
Right.
So and what this means, Brian, if you think about it, your 12 lowest seeded teams.
Right.
You already had 4 16 seeded teams playing.
Right.
So the other 2 teams who just were put into the bracket now play. That gives you 6 of your 12. Your next layer.
Well, hold on. Wait a minute. I think you just confused me.
Okay.
For a second. Let's slow down. Let's peel this back bullet by bullet before we start jumping, because I think they do a great job of explaining the bullets, and I think what you're doing, you're explaining the second and third, or the third and fourth bullet, but I still want to finish talking about that, peel back that.
All right, come on.
Okay, there we go. For some reason,
you froze up there, Brian.
Yeah, I know. It keeps. I noticed that every now and then. It's doing that. I don't know why. The 12 lowest AQs, now the 12 lowest at large. Well, they just told you, Drew, that they put 8 new at larges. So essentially, what used to be the last 4 in, now you have 8 additional. So the 8 additionals plus the last 4 now make up 12. These guys are wicked. All right, now let's move to the third bullet, Drew. So all of this now means that you have 12 new games instead of, how many games were there previously?
12 total games. It was 4 games total.
Yeah, now you get 12
8 additional games.
8 additional games. So 6 at large and 6 AQ games each. And you're going to have triple headers on Tuesday and Wednesday. So they're still keeping with the Tuesday, Wednesday scenario.
That sounds like the Drew proposal.
It does. It does. Obviously, when you have these 12 games, the 12 teams advance. They would join the other 52 teams that did not have to do this to make the round of 64. These guys. 6 of the games played Tuesday and Wednesday will continue to be played at Dayton, while the other 6 games will be played on Tuesday and Wednesday at a yet-to-be-determined site.
Sounds like
I want to talk about the site, but now your scenario that you or your point that you were making was related to which one of those bullets?
Bullet kind of 2.5, kind of between 2 and 3. And I'm talking about specifically the lowest, the AQs.
Okay.
All right. Previously you had your 4 lowest AQs, which tended to be 2 of them tended to be from the SWAC and the MEAC.
29, 30, 31, and 32
played in the play-in game in the first 4. Right. Those next 2 teams who were automatically put in the bracket as 16 seeds, now they are playing in a similar type game. So all what was a traditional 16 now plays in the opening round. In addition to all of your 15s, what has it been in the past would have been a 15 seed would now be playing in this first round. So, and I could sit here and talk about it, but it'd be easy if we kind of looked at it visually.
I pulled up the okay.
And we might do better, Brian, because we probably need to make this larger. Let me see if I can make this larger and get us off the screen. That's not making it larger.
No, you're not going to make it larger.
Oops.
Nah.
All right, there we go.
Yeah, it's kind of. I think there is a couple other interesting graphics that can maybe better illustrate. But
we're in that gray area to the right, the SWAC and the MEAC at the top, those rights.
Yeah. As you can see in the upper left and the upper right of the tournament bracket are the 16 seeds that would play each other.
Right. All 4 16 games. And then two 15 games.
Right. Well, actually, my mistake. There are actually 3. All 4 16 seeds are playing. If you look at the bracket, all 4 16s. And then there's appears to be only 1 15 seed.
Should be 2.
Look
at the top.
Yeah, there's only 1. If you look on the right side at the bottom right quadrant, you see a 15 and a 16.
Then this graphic left a game off because there's only 5 games on there. If you look at it.
Oh, you know where the other 15 seed is in the upper left quadrant.
Yeah.
Okay, so 4 of the 16 v16s, 2 15 v15s.
Correct.
So it's in the upper left. So the upper left quadrant, the bottom right quadrant is where the 15s and 16 play-in games are. And then obviously now you see the 12s, and then this year you have 4 12 seed games
and 2 11s
and 2 11 seeds. Now I wonder if they will stick with the location of those games. You notice how it is very stacked in the upper left quadrant and the bottom right quadrant. So instead of putting instead of making it so that there's 3, because what they could have done, Drew, to balance it out, they could have put one of the 11 seed games in the bottom left quadrant and one of the 11s in the upper right quadrant, and then you would have had 3 playing games
per quadrant
going into each quadrant.
And they probably will. This is just the first draft of it, probably. And it's probably a lot of it's going to be determined by seed also. Who's your number one overall? Which quadrant do they put your number one overall team in? And then they do the snake from there for your top 16. So
I've already seen one predictive bracket, which was done by Andy Katz. And I'll put that up here on the screen in a second, because I think now, I don't know if this was based off of this year, meaning like what would this field look like had it had played out this year, right? Like if this year's tournament had 16 teams. And I think that's what he did here. So I think I'm gonna load these up, and we would have seen, okay, so this is what this would have looked like. This is what this year's tournament would have looked like in the current model, right? So you would have had in the East, you would have had Southern v. Merrimack. And again, Southern didn't win the SWAC, so I don't know whether I don't know what this was predictive based on. This is his prediction. Maybe he's already predicting for next year, which is wild to me in the first place. But there's Southern, there's the Eastern Division, right? Then you would have had the West Division, which, if I'm not mistaken, there's Tennessee State. Tennessee State would have been a 16 seed in a play-in game. In the South, Howard University. You see Howard in a play-in game, right? So far you had 3 HBCUs according to his prediction. And then the last team, I don't think it's not an HBCU. The last one is not an HBCU.
Vermont, Montana State.
Yeah. So that's predicted. Again, this is Andy Katz. I don't know, again, whether he's predicting based on last year's metrics, this year's metric. Who knows? It's, who knows? But I think he was taking some liberties with it. But I got one more telltale comparison here, Drew. Let's take a look at this. Let's look at the changes to the opening round over the past 15 years to what's upcoming. Again, just to kind of summarize. Over the last 15 years, you've had 4 total games. You're moving to 12 total games next year. The 4 AQs and the 4 at-larges now become 12 AQs and 12 at-larges. 2 games per day versus 3 games per day per site. So as you can see, all the games used to be in Dayton. Now you're going to have Dayton and another location.
Probably out west.
Would you want it to be in Vegas, Drew?
Ooh.
I hear a lot of people in Vegas. Well, I don't want to say a lot of people, but I know I've heard from some casino sportsbook guys who run the casinos out there are lobbying already for Las Vegas to be the alternate site, the second site.
Maybe a place like a Reno or something like that, a smaller place.
Reno. Who goes to Reno? I go to Reno when you can go to Vegas.
Yeah. But who knows? I do have an interesting question with this, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
What becomes of the NIT?
It's funny you asked that because those. Let me see. How many additional teams is it?
That's 12.
Those eight
eight
additional
teams out of the NIT.
So so here's two thoughts here. Remember, you still had some teams that passed on the NIT.
Opted out, correct.
Those teams that opted out of the NIT are probably those 8 teams that don't opt out of this.
Because there's more money.
Exactly. And if you win a game, what?
You get a unit.
You're moving to the next round. Right. So those 8 schools, those 8, 9, 10 schools that opted out are still, but where I'm going with that is the NIT won't change, Drew, because it'll still be the 86th or 7th rated team, and everybody else from 87 on down to 130 that will still be a part of the NIT. And remember, how many schools are there in the NCAA basketball, Drew? There's 365, 7?
Somewhere up in there. And now here's the thing. 32 teams currently in the NIT.
Correct.
So you, between these two tournaments, 76, 32. It's 108 teams minimum playing postseason basketball. So will we see some 12 and 18 teams out the SEC participating in the NIT, Bryan? Or will they finally open those up to mid and lower major teams who actually want to play in those type of tournaments?
Interesting question. It's a great question. I think you would want to get teams that are going to generate interest. And if you see, I think the egg on the face of not making the 60, I'm going to say the 64, Drew, because we understand that really when we say 68,
just call it the tournament.
Well, but hold on. But really, you got to say it this way because the 4 plus 64 is really those 4 AQs. So when I say when you're not part of the 64, meaning you're not one of the, the 48 teams that got multi-bid from a multi-bid league, there's a little egg on your face and there's a little bit of shame for some of those programs. And you're dealing with NIL, kids who jump in the portal early. There's no incentive unless the NIT changes its approach and throws in some NIL opportunities. I don't think it changes. Now, the NCAA tournament, because of the unit factor, I do think will incentivize those 8 to 10 schools who opted out of going to the NIT to now, hey, we want to continue our season because we never know, we could win a game or two. But you were a mid team anyway
in your conference.
In your conference, and you probably were on a losing streak down the stretch. Maybe, there were some teams who were winning that just kind of crapped out in the tournament. But you know what I'm saying? And so now it's hard to envision if you're thinking of this as if it's more opportunities for HBCUs, Drew. I'm gonna get you out of that and say
I didn't just say HBCU. Well, I said lower to mid major.
But if you are ranked 200 or lower, I don't think you have a chance in heck of playing in the NIT. I don't think they will invite you if you are rated below 200.
Despite the fact that you probably won your regular season championship and laid the egg in the tournament?
Even despite that. even despite that. I just don't, I don't know if the logistics. It would be smart, I think, to go back to guaranteeing the regular season conference champion that may lose, just like what they do in the women's. I think they would be wise to do that. But I think originally when they got away from it, I guess they kind of thought they would be able to get more. I think they underestimated what schools and players were doing with NIL and the transfer portal. I think they thought they were a good option. Well, no, those kids at that point, if you missed the NCAA tournament, most of those kids are like, we're out. I'm trying to get out. I'm either going to go on spring break or hit the portal, one of the two. But, money talks. But I do hope that they go back, because I do think if they incentivize it with the HBCU or the other mid-major automatic regular season champs that missed out, I think you stand a chance of getting a very competitive team in those NIT games. Yeah. I just did the math, Drew. The percentage, you said 108.
Yes.
If I do the percentage of 108 schools, teams, out of the 367, you're still under 30%. So when we hear them talk about expansion, I mean, they're stopping at 76 now. This is a litmus test, Drew.
96?
Really,
They can go on.
I mean, it's only 29%. It's still not even a full third of all the basketball programs. So why not? I mean, at this point, it's still coming down to what? You got to win 6 or 7 games. You still got to win. That's what you got to do. And I think you could, as long as you don't have to win more than 7, I think you can make it work. And especially with the fact that in one weekend, you really only have to, so it's two games in a weekend. And you get an off day. So it's not like you're playing back to back.
Now, let's pivot this, Bryan. Let's bring up a business question. I'm Commissioner Charles McClellan. I'm Commissioner Sonia Steele. I know, given this new dynamic, we will be playing in that play-in tournament.
For sure. For sure.
Do I consider moving my conference tournament up a week to give my team who wins a better advantage? Stay with me, Bryan. We saw this with the HBCU AC. And if you remember, I proposed this 3, maybe 4 years ago about starting your conference tournaments on a Saturday and a Sunday, such as the HBCU AC just did with their baseball and their softball tournament. And everybody on this network laughed at me and told me how stupid and crazy Drew was. Until you just saw it. Shout out to Dr. Kiki Baker Barnes for paying attention in Drew's course when Drew gave the lecture. And now it looks a little bit more genius. I know she looked better than me, so maybe that's why y'all like her proposal versus my proposal of it. But seriously, do we move the MEAC and the SWAC tournament and start them, move them up to that Saturday or Sunday prior? Those tournaments in on Tuesday, possibly that Wednesday of the week. Now our team has 4 days before their selection to get themselves together? And do I need to go into the reasons why I'm looking at moving the tournament up?
Well,
and I'll quickly give them to you just before you get into it.
Go ahead.
And then I need y'all to chime in on the chat with this. Right now, our championship games are on Saturday. Right? Saturday, you have the chance of drawing how many fan bases? 2 fan bases per gender.
2 plus casual basketball fans.
Right. Now, we opened the tournament up on the prior Saturday, and we know the first round, especially in the SWAC, and I think for both tournaments, takes 2 days. So you've got your opening round Saturday and your other opening round on Sunday. So now I'm drawing 8 fan bases for 4 games to my arena on Saturday, another 8 fan bases for 4 games on Sunday. Now, I've got the in-venue attendance possibility. Now, you move on through the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever it is. Now, that gives me the opportunity to follow my teams on TV. Your diehards are going to be there. The locals are going to be there. Now, SWAC has thrown the curveball with the fact that they've got those play-in games.
Thank you. I'm glad you mentioned that. That's what I was going to say.
But I need my quarterfinals for both men and women to be Saturday and Sunday. So that means you have to
play a Thursday
and a Friday. You have to get Thursday and Friday prior to get to the quarterfinals Saturday and Sunday. Talk to me, Bryan.
Could you do this? Yes, but what?
Let me tell you. That would mean the SWAC season would end the Saturday prior. So
well, in order
the SWAC season would end on that Saturday. So now you've got Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to get to Atlanta and play your open round games Thursday and Friday with your quarters on Saturday and Sunday.
But it also means that you have to play some conference games in December,
which is another thing that's in the Drew plan.
Right.
And getting off that god awful New Year's weekend.
Well,
especially for rival games.
Would
you
need
to get a couple of games in before Christmas?
If you see, here's the thing though. Playing conference games before Christmas or before the semester ends could possibly affect a player or two, right? Who's maybe not eligible for the first semester that all of a sudden is available after exams. When you get into that Christmas break, all of a sudden teams start getting players back. And then you go into the first weekend of SWAC play and you got a guy who wasn't there or a gal who wasn't there.
What's the difference between that and an ankle or a knee, Bryan? Next man up.
Okay, great point. So it's interesting. I think it could work, Drew. But my counter to that is, given the fact that the SWAC has won a game, 4 of the last 5 years, if that's not mistaken, and they
4 or 5 or 4 or 6, something like that.
And they have done it with the schedule that they've been in. There's nothing that shows me that getting 2 extra days of rest is any bigger advantage than the other schools that they played.
What about the tournament, the appearance of the tournament, the atmosphere in the tournament, the ratings of the of the tournament.
Well,
I'm more likely to get a TV spot on a Wednesday, Brian, than on the Saturday championship.
But if you're the SWAC, does that really concern you?
If I'm looking for revenue, if I'm looking for TV spots, which i.e. equals revenue, yes.
Well, who are you going to get that from? Because unless you're wanting to get on the ESPN schedule,
which both SWAC and BX championship games are,
for now. You could move it. This mindset that nobody goes, I think that can be resolved with better marketing and promotion.
Nobody's there.
Because
nobody's there when we play the day after the New Year anyway. Nobody's there the first week of January. That's a mute point, Edwin.
Yeah, but I reject that even because I went to the Bethune FAMU game at Bethune. They had a good crowd in their gymnasium. Their gymnasium only seats so many, but they did have a good crowd. I don't know if a similar engaged crowd would have been there had that game been in Tallahassee. And we have seen those, and it hasn't been.
Exactly.
When we've seen that FAMU Bethune game played at the end of the year, March versus January, stark difference in that crowd. It really is. Bethune, maybe it's because of the gymnasium, maybe it's because the community is
still
more
only talking 2,000
engaged.
people, Brian.
Well, but
2,000 in Bethune look a lot better than 2,000 in Lawson.
It does. and 2,000, 3,000 people is still a good. It's upper level in terms of attendance numbers for a SWAC basketball game. That part. So I think the issue. I think the issue becomes schools marketing, promoting their games better, making the schedules known a little bit better.
Brian, it don't matter when your team is off campus until January because you out here playing all these money games. And your team comes in 0-12.
Well,
1-11.
Yes.
And that one is against an NAIA or a D2.
That's okay. All valid points. But one other thing you got to factor in, Drew, is that as the season begins in November, I think I was in one of our interviews that we had with Coach Bridget Gordon of Florida A&M. The NCAA is going to allow more non-conference games. I think you're getting up to 3 more non-conference games this year.
Yes, you are.
So what are teams going to do with those? Are they going to
you play those games in December?
Well, yes, sure.
Right. But you play those games between finals and when your season kicks back up like the big conferences do. They get 2-3 conference games in. They about mid-December, they break, they go play in these Maui Invitationals and other non-conference games during Christmas, get their days off for Christmas, come back, play a couple of games after the New Year. That's when you go play your money games, Brian.
Yeah. Well,
when Texas is looking for somebody to play, schedule Prairie View, schedule Texas Southern, Alabama. You need somebody to play. Go play Alabama A&M.
They do that. They already do that.
But play it in December instead of in November. Play it post-Christmas.
All right. I don't disagree. You see Doc's note, Doc, about spending additional money to market. Well, I mean, what's the whole concept of marketing? The whole concept of marketing is to increase the revenue of the people coming into the game. So, yeah, I might be spending more money on marketing, but I'm also spending with the purpose of drawing more eyes onto my product. or getting more people in.
And Brian, it's not all about getting butts in the seats, although those are good. It's getting eyes on the product, like you said. That's impression.
Well, but hold on, Drew.
That's views on.
But you just said you
streaming.
didn't want them to play the games the first weekend of January.
No.
So, well, I mean, what you can't. You want it both ways.
There's a balance between butts in the seats and eyes on the tube. Brian, that first weekend in January, you're not getting either one. Because what does everybody do with that first weekend?
I think people will watch.
What does everybody do with that first weekend in January, Brian?
I think people are watching.
Everybody watching big boy football. If it's not NFL playoffs, they'll watching whatever ball game, FCS playoffs. They're watching all that stuff on that Saturday after the New Year. Everything but SWAC and MEAC basketball.
I disagree. I think we have enough. I think there are people who are watching who have enough methods and means to watch these games that when you want to watch, you'll watch. The games have to be available for you to watch. And if it's your school, you're going to watch your school, your team. And the sad part is, I don't have any data in front of me to sort of validate or dispute kind of my thoughts on it. I would love to be able to know what per SWAC weekend, what numbers look like, and maybe I don't know if the SWAC would post that information or not, but it would be really, really interesting to find out.
To know what?
Which weekends were the best viewed basketball weekends.
Oh, viewed, yeah. That would be up to the SWAC. Now, you can get attendance numbers real easy.
Oh, yeah. I can go look at attendance numbers. It's all there.
Yes.
Yeah. But I don't know, man. I'm still torn about the idea of moving the games up early. Ask Tennessee State. Did Tennessee State here's a good example. In what ways did Tennessee State benefit from their tournament being played a week earlier than the SWAC and MEAC? Now, did it give them? I thought two things happened. One, did they get more exposure in the off week because of who they were and their coach being able to go do more interviews and not having to worry about games? Yes. Did it help them because they had an extra week and a half? I don't know if it did, because they still got smoked by 30 points, 35 points in the tournament. So, but look at Howard University. Howard played on a Saturday. They went to the first four, won that. I call it the first four. But they went to the it is the first four. I don't know why I was thinking something else. They went to that. They won. They turned around and played probably the most competitive game against Michigan, maybe other than Connecticut, at the very end of the tournament. And put 80 points up on Michigan. I don't know if anybody else put 80 points on Michigan during the entire tournament. So I don't know if it matters, Drew. I really don't. I don't think it does the way you want it to. It sounds logical. I will say that it does sound logical. I just don't know that it makes a huge enough difference to take away from an entire week. And the thing you brought up about the SWAC being a 12-team league, that first 2 days of the tournament are your the 9 to 12 teams, and then the 7 to whoever made it out the 9 through 12. So
you're 7 and 8 get in
7 and 8. So you don't even have your top 6 teams until the 3rd or 4th day of the tournament,
which is the Saturday and Sunday that I'm proposing.
But that means then you're playing Thursday and Friday previously. I don't. And you got to take a whole week away from games that you could have been playing the last week of, or the first week of March.
Actually, you're only taking one. You're only taking one game away because right now the season ends on that Tuesday and Wednesday prior because they don't play the weekend prior to the SWAC tournament. So you
Oh,
just
they're not. Okay,
so really you're only moving
you're only taking
one set
game.
of games and moving it up.
Okay, well, I guess. I mean, it's interesting dilemmas. It's interesting. I think the pros and cons, but I think at the end of the day, whatever route you're going to, what is our goal? And I think that as a conference,
increase viewership, increase attendance. That's my goal.
Increase viewership of the tournament.
Yes, and increase attendance.
All right. I don't. You're asking the teams to. What did Doc say? Teams would love to what? What is he referring to? Those first two games?
I think so.
Well, again, if your season's
but Edwin, are you waiting to know your team's in the semifinal? But what if you know your team was playing Saturday or Sunday, no matter what? Would you head to the tournament then to cheer on your team? That's the question. Damn, I'm validated now. Doc agreed with me. Let's get ready to pick up this show and get out of here, Bryan.
Yeah.
Unless we got anything else.
Good stuff. I think we've got I think those are great proposals and ideas, and I think we, good proposals and ideas. I guess we'll wait to kind of see a little more. I think maybe what we ought to do is maybe we ought to figure out a way of reaching out to coaches via a nicely worded survey, and just kind of start with coaches and ADs and kind of see what their perspective is on this scenario, Drew, and see how many coaches and ADs respond with the thought. And we might be able to move the needle with this thought. Put together a nice little survey to kind of see what happens. We got coaches' contact emails and stuff.
Yeah. And although we're not gonna get into it on this podcast, Bryan, hopefully next week we'll be able to get into it. I don't know if any of you guys saw the tweet by Dr. Walt Bellamy. Dr. Walt Bellamy being of the Lord Jesus, what's the basketball tournament, Bryan? I'm drawing a blank.
Is that the Black College
Invitational? Yeah.
Okay.
Being of the Black College Invitational. Thank you, Doc. But he put out a very interesting tweet about the black athlete boycotting schools in the South. And
no, don't say schools. Say one particular conference.
Particularly SEC schools.
Yes. Okay.
But schools in the South, period, because of the voting rights legislation that has been pushed through in a lot of the states where we live at, where a lot of our members of our audience are at. We invited him to come on the podcast today. He was unavailable today, but we're going to get him in, and this is going to be possibly a long discussion that we have. But I'll just say this, Bryan. Our black athletes have a lot of power that they've been entrusted with that they do not understand that they have, and could really take a history lesson right now to the 1960s when you saw Ali, Russell, then Kareem, then Lou Alcindor, later known as Kareem Abdul Jabbar, and Jim Brown and other people uh, use their powers to influence a lot of things. Tommy Smith, a lot of the people from back in the 60s to help influence change because these voting rights in these states that they are trying to gerrymander and take away our vote. And this really hit a nerve with me today, Brian, as in Georgia. We've got early voting that's going on right now for the primaries, and I went and voted Saturday. And this is probably the first time in my lifetime I was wondering whether my vote was going to actually count, whether they're going to gerrymander our vote or whatever, or they're going to switch it up afterwards and say this and that and switch the district and all that kind of stuff. Everything that you see with these tricks going on in all these states. So we need to have this discussion, Brian. We need to have this discussion, and we need to bring in some people with a lot more expertise than you and I to kind of lead this discussion, Brian. But young black men, young black women, you got a lot of power out there. You got a lot of soul searching that you may need to do coming up soon before you decide. And I'm not just talking to HBCU athletes, I'm talking to black athletes in general before you decide to go to these state institutions, these state flagship institutions.
I was trying to find his email or his feeds in case you were looking for.
I've got them if you want me to bring them up.
It's Dr. period West WES Bellamy BELLAMY. That's his handle on Threads. And I don't know if that's the same handle on Twitter and Instagram, if he's even on those. But if you're on Threads, that's the handle. And he does a great job of posting. Again, the main post says, so what would happen if black college football players specifically said enough of the political BS? I saw the first graphic going around, but did a little more research. And then the thread is 13 threads, which not only shows the graphic, but it gets into the points, some of which Drew just spoke about. But it's a good conversation piece that we can that we have, and if we are able to pull it off, if you get him booked, let me know, Drew. That way, I'd love to be able to do a little more research, and I think I have put out in our own groups a couple of main thoughts, because I don't know if we can compare and look at the young athletes of today and compare them with the athletes of the 60s who were more conscious, or at least it seems like the majority of them were more conscious. And that was a product of maybe circumstances where they had to be more conscious.
Because they were coming off civil rights struggle. They were coming off the Korean War. They were in the Vietnam War. They were, their parents were in World War II.
This power that we keep saying these young people have, yes, they have a lot of power, but I don't know that they connect, because the ones that they look at aren't helping them connect. Can't say it any cleaner than that. I mean, we'll talk more later, but I think in order for the younger generation to be able to want to use their power to benefit a greater society, they have to have somebody or some people that they look up to help them along the way. I don't know that we have those people in place. And, we'll talk more about that next week.
Last thing, Brian, how much does NIL factor into their decisions?
Huge factor.
We'll leave it right there, Brian.
Huge factor.
Let's pick up this show and get out of here. Just give y'all some food for thought. Do your own research. Come up with your own ideas.
All right. Do me a favor, all of you who are interested in the BCSN Pod Zone, or if you are a podcast listener, or you someone who downloads and you frequent podcasting websites, why haven't you downloaded the BCSN Pod Zone yet? Why haven't you added it to your feeds, whether you're on Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast? I mean, all of these shows that you watch and that maybe you catch the full version or a partial version. Hey, you can go get the podcast of the whole show. And hey, I don't care if you listen to the whole show, but hey, if you subscribe and you download and you rate and help the algorithm, help a brother out with the algorithm, please. That's BCSN Pod Zone on all of your podcast platforms. This show will be available sometime in the next 8 to 10 hours, depending upon how quickly it gets uploaded. But you can also catch all the shows during the week. Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, of course, the BCSN SportsWrap, the Carlos Brown Show, the ONG Strike Zone, and more shows to come right on the BCSN Pod Zone, everywhere that you listen to podcasts. So that's going to do it for tonight's show. Congratulations again to all the softball teams that are still alive. We look forward to a great week, heading down to baseball games, the final series in the SWAC.
Ever Waters finds out where they're going tonight.
Exactly. So make sure you're following all of the social media handles, and we'll definitely be posting all of that info. So thank you all for being a part of the chat, tuning in, watching the show from wherever you did it. That's going to do it for tonight. So for AD Drew, I'm Brian Fulford. Have a great week, everybody. And again, happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. And we will see you next Sunday.
Travel light, everybody. Well, holla.